Sup.
Get the camera all set up. Guess that's about right. All right, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah,
Happy Wednesday.
it's a good one.
Hope you're doing well out there. Nice and safe and warm.
Sorry about the delays today, but Christopher was having a crisis with his Fidelity account. That's what he's prioritized today.
I'm not the only one prioritizing that lately, okay?
I enjoyed it.
But let's focus on SEO now. We're here to answer SEO questions, not stocks questions.
You wouldn't want to hear us say anything about that shit anyways.
All right. Yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat wherever you are, and we'll get to answering them. All right. Let's see what we're doing. Hey, Jahir. How's it going, man? Hey, Josh. Hey, Brian. All right. Let's get to some questions.
Start off with that one.
All right, so first question is, if I 301 redirect 3 domains with high DA do follow relevant backlinks to my money site, how much time do I have until I get penalized? So
It's a cool question.
if you 301 domains, how long till you get a penalty, Nick?
I mean, there's no telling. It's going to be dependent on your 301s, and then 301s are fairly volatile, so if you're doing 3 at one time, my guess is it's probably not going to take, but there's a chance that it might. How long before you get penalized?
I mean, 301s aren't really known for giving you a penalty.
Well, you can with sneaky redirects, right? So if you've got, let's say, 20 links going to this new domain, it's a 5-page website, and then you 301 3 domains with high DA because they've got an insane amount of backlinks. My guess is you're going to get penalized pretty quickly because, there's nothing natural about that. But
if you do 3 at the same time?
With a very small starting domain, right?
Okay.
Now, let's say you've got like a massive domain. It's been chugging away at churning content for, 6 months to a year. It's got 1,000 plus referring domains, and then you redirect 3 smaller domains. Probably more likely that you're going to get away with it. So the question is going to depend on some variables, but at the same time, let's go into this again. A redirect is supposed to emulate a company taking over another company, right? So you picture it like a merger or something like that. How often in time do you see a company take over 3 companies at once?
But it's not really impossible either.
No, it's not impossible, and so that's why it's you might get away with it, especially if you're paying attention to variables like how big the site is and how big the 301s are.
So let's say this. Let's say that his site is fairly new.
Yeah.
Let's say it's got less than 100 referring domains, his main money site.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's got 301 domains that he wants to use.
Yeah.
And let's say each one of those has, 500 or more referring domains on them.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're quite a bit bigger than the main money site. How would you go about, starting with your money site that has less than 100 referring domains? How would you work those 301s into it?
Pick one 301, the one that you want to work the most, the one that's got the most index pages probably, and then 301 that one. And then hold on to the other 2 and see how that plays out. And watch and monitor what happens in the SERPs using something like Ahrefs. And when you get a positive influx in the SERPs, you can take that as a trust bonus, so to speak, and then you can consider doing another 301. But I would probably stagger them.
Should they be adding other backlinks in as well?
For sure. Yeah.
So you're adding the first 301 in, you're waiting for some positive kind of results, and maybe you're building other links to the money site directly in the
Right.
meantime.
So again, since it's a merger, or since we're trying to emulate that, typically when one company takes over another company, you're going to have press that also comes along with that. So it'd be natural to see this 301, or rather, via the 301 happening, your asset would also be getting a lot of backlinks from different websites talking about the merger.
Okay, so
So in short,
so
how
add
long
one.
until you get penalized?
But as far as best
depending on a lot
practices
of
goes, add one, wait for some positive results, add some more natural backlinks in.
Yeah. And then I mean,
how would you know when you can safely add the next one?
you'd be every time you put a post up, you're getting, top 3 pages for that post pretty quickly, would show that your website's in good health and trusted by Google. So then you can start to reassess if you want to take another, gamble type maneuver with it.
When you're 301ing, I actually don't mess around with 301s myself too much, which you can see I'm asking Nick all the questions here because I know he's played around with it more than I have.
I used to like doing it a lot more than I do now.
What's the most 301s you've added to a site and got good results out of it? Or do you normally stick to like one?
3 or 4 probably tops. But
kind of
that's
time
spread
frame?
out over 2 years or so. And then I've got different recipes that I like to use when I 301 to kind of increase the ability to get them to stick and resonate well. And a lot of that has to do with just how I manage my backlinking campaigns for the month that I do it, and then the months shortly thereafter.
Cool. Yeah. So maybe not do all 301s at the same time.
No, and especially with the newer site, spread them out, try and make things look natural. That's what we preach around here, is you're going to get more longevity out of your assets if you just try and make them look natural.
All right, let's see what else we can answer here. True, I actually like this question. True or false? Aged link is a ranking factor. So the age of a link, does the age of a link mean anything?
That's a good question. I would think that to some degree, yes, if you're considering maybe reusing old link juice from like what we just talked about, a 301 domain. So let's say it was dead for a while, that backlink was 404ing for 6 months to 2 years, just for hypothetical. I would think that there's going to be a delayed fuse, or that's kind of what I've noticed, a delayed fuse in getting that to resonate again and pass link juice again. However,
well, let's just say it's a normal link.
Yeah,
Does the age
on
matter?
that end, I would say not really, because you're going to notice off a really good link, you're going to notice an influx in the SERPs, within a few days, normally. So, I'm like, as far as like initial, I'm like,
I'm going to jump in here. No, the age doesn't matter as a ranking factor. What matters is if that link, the linking page has accumulated any backlinks. So, normally a URL that has some age to it has accumulated some backlinks over time, or has established some level of like trust with Google. But I don't think age itself really means anything. It matters more like what that domain that the link is coming from over time has done, or the links that URL specifically has accumulated during that time. I would say it also could matter as far as like, for example, when we're building links, are probably the 2 main tools that we like to use are niche edits and guest post. The main difference between them, or one of the main differences being that Niche edits have some age to them, whereas guest posts are brand new. So the age of the link could come in and be a factor as far as basically like link building footprints, right? Are you getting only links from brand new URLs? Or are you only getting links from old URLs or stuff like that? But I don't think age itself really means anything other than the trust and the authority it's accumulated over time due to its own backlink profile. Do you agree with that? Disagree?
I'm iffy on it, honestly, because like, you know, it could have like like an increased trust flow kind of situation where after, because like I think about like a negative SEO technique that we used to use, or like I knew somebody that would use it, and it had to do with putting 10, 20 high-end links pointed at an asset and then dropping them all the following month, and that would resonate in a huge negative for that asset. And so it's almost like there's like an age maturation, where once you get the link, like you'll get benefits quickly, right? But maybe there is a little extra oomph that comes with time. It's not something I've ever tested, and I don't know anybody that's really tested it. Might be worth looking into, but yeah, that's it's interesting.
So my
But
answer,
we never stop backlinking, right? So when are we
yeah,
ever going to be able to test that unless we just make a specific test for it?
I'm gonna go with false. Nick is
I don't know.
he's not gonna answer the question. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say false. It just depends. I mean,
It's not worth thinking about, I
not a
guess.
ranking
I would go
factor,
with that.
maybe like a speed factor, like how fast it has an effect. Like an aged URL might pass its juice to you quicker than a brand new URL. But again, it has to do with kind of the trust and authority it's built through its previous backlinks and stuff over time. So
Yeah, focus on what you're talking about more than, conceptualizing how much extra that would even like add up to.
all right, what else we got here? So, hey guys, what's your opinion about Uber Suggest as a tool? What up, Neil Patel? Is it good, great, or just there?
I've never used it really, so
Yeah, I've actually never used it in a serious way. I've played around with it for a little bit, um,
pull it
but
up and give it a
it
whirl.
didn't really have anything that. Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull it up. So yeah, Uber Suggest is Neil Patel's keyword research tool. Yeah, so let's enter a keyword. I don't know, Denver SEO. But yeah, I think from what I remember before, my feelings on it were that it looked really good. It was
It
really
looks
pretty.
clean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very clean, very well done. But it was just like a bunch of stuff I didn't need.
Well, see, and like the main stuff like SEO difficulty, I'm willing to bet. I mean, we could probably show, but not rely on that. What else do they have here? And then I wonder if their
Oops,
like how accurate their search volume is. We should compare it to
what happened? I clicked on the keyword difficulty and it exploded the
You
page.
messed it up.
All right, getting back to Denver SEO. So yeah, search volume with this graph, which I mean, I
Okay.
guess it's kind of cool if you're working with a niche or whatever that the volume's changing over time, or like a seasonal thing or an emerging term or something. It's generally not something I really look at. So the graph is pretty and stuff. It's unnecessary for me. Keyword ideas, of course. Keyword ideas are cool. But yeah, I mean, I prefer to use something like Keywords Everywhere, and you can just get the keyword ideas like right on your Google browser rather than having to use Neil's little thing right here. So basically, and then here it's got content ideas. I'm not really sure what this is. Maybe it's just top ranking pages. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so it's got like all this stuff in a very pretty way, which I feel like if you were to actually just look at the actual SERP itself and maybe turn on Keywords Everywhere. Yeah, I mean, so here's the search volume thing, which looks to have a lot more data here. I don't use that anyway, really. You've got a bunch more related keywords, and you also get to look at the SERP itself, which I think is probably the most valuable information, right? Looking at the actual like URLs and the titles and the metas right here on the page, I feel is definitely like one of the most powerful things you can look at in keyword research. So I like it all to be right here.
Is Uber Suggest completely free?
They have a
Do you have
paid
unlimited?
option.
Okay, no, I guess not.
So yeah, they've got some like paid things. I'm not really sure what the.
But I guess if you're using this, right, let's say you're trying to do it at zero cost, your keyword research, then at least the search volume is accurate on Uber Suggest.
Are they the same?
Yeah, they're the same at least. SEO difficulty, right? So I would if you're using this platform, then use this in conjunction with Mozbar. So you'd actually go to the search itself, turn on Mozbar, and that'll probably give you, if you use both of them, a little bit better idea. And then if you do the all-in title, all-in URL.
I want to see what Ahrefs says about.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
So Keywords Explorer.
Like we're just big. We're not big on using metrics, especially competition metrics like SEO difficulty or
So you can see right
KD.
here, so Neil is saying SEO Denver, which you would
is easy, but
you would generally think that's a pretty hard keyword because
Yeah,
you're going up
it's-
against other SEOs, right? So Neil's like, yeah, that's no problem. You can do it, bud.
Yeah, but that
You
wouldn't
come
be
over to
an engine.
Ahrefs, and Ahrefs is like, I'm not so sure about that, Neil. So Ahrefs considers it hard. Which one is right? I don't really go by this one either. But
No, let's show them how we would just do it, right?
Okay, let me
So yeah,
turn on Mozbar.
learn more. If you click learn more, it'll go to the web.
All right, so yeah, this is looking at keyword difficulty. First, I look at the the volume up here. Then I'm just coming down, and Mozbar loads in the DA and the PA, just real quick metrics. I normally don't go by Moz, but just being able to see them all directly on the SERP. You can also use Ahrefs. We've never actually tried out the Ahrefs add-on. I guess we should.
Yeah.
It's probably, I don't know why I'm still using the
Just
Moz
more
one.
data be better.
But anyway, either way, the point of this is just to look at it at a quick glance, right? So, looking at this at a quick glance, 2,400 a month. It's an SEO term, but you see the DAs of the sites are actually quite low.
Well, it depends on your asset, right?
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on you and
But
your website.
I would say 30 to 60, right, is like or they average around like 30.
Well,
in
the
there.
top like 5 positions are all under 40.
So
with 2 of them being under 30.
Yeah.
I would
still give this medium competition. Like, you can't be a newbie and just come in here and get an easy ranking, It's going to take months from a fresh website.
If this was our website and we were going after these terms, I would
feel pretty comfy.
I would feel pretty comfortable. But yeah, I mean I don't like I don't like these little ratings that they give. I actually like to look at it myself, and if I wanted to look into it a little bit further, I would actually want to know like the referring domain count of these, which in Ahrefs, I don't think they actually tell you here because this is this is for the actual URL, I think, and not the domain. Which I don't know why they do
But
it
you
like
get an
that.
idea of overall power.
But yeah, I would actually use.
And you can use UR as an indicator of what that inner page's value is.
Yeah, I guess you can just look at DR as well. But yeah, I actually maybe I'm old school. I actually like to see the RD count.
Yeah, same.
I feel a lot more comfortable knowing the RD rather than something like DA
I
or
will
DR.
say I'm more interested in the RD of the overall website though, because even some of those massive websites with 1,500 RD that don't have any going to that inner page are still going to beat out a lot of people. And then furthermore, if we go back to keyword research, one last thing we can do is the all in title and all in URL,
Yeah,
just to figure out how many people are using that either in their title or using Denver SEO in their
I like to do it in quotes.
to get it exact.
Well, yeah. So then it has to be in that order as well, right? About 2,000.
Yeah. Which isn't, I mean, that's not really that crazy.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's
Neil
definitely
Patel
not
thing,
easy though. So yeah, that'd be the only pitfall to maybe trusting something like
I mean, I
this.
guess if you don't want to pay like the $5 or whatever for keywords everywhere, the free Neil Patel thing is better. I really like my workflow to be like on the actual SERP, right? There's just so much information here,
For sure.
rather than being on his platform that's very good looking, but it just doesn't have everything you'd want.
Yeah, regardless of what you use, just, be sure to compound it with other tools as well or other concepts. Don't ever just trust one platform to tell you exactly what you need to go after. Otherwise, everybody would use the same platform and we'd all have the same data and same info. So, just know that if you do use this, use it for metrics like search volume and things like that. And then
Keyword ideas are not loading. Anyway, maybe the Neil Patel thing, maybe Uber Suggest is good for like beginners.
yeah. All right. Yeah. It's,
Yeah, they don't have to pay any money. It's completely free.
just don't trust everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe don't look at like the difficulty or whatever, but you might be able to get some additional keyword ideas and stuff like that if you don't want to use the workaround method of doing it for free in Google AdWords or if you don't want to pay $5 for keywords everywhere. But it's not a tool that I don't think any like serious SEOs are using. Uber Suggest. Do you know
the ones
any?
in our sub niche of SEO? No, I think that's the big white hat guys with venture capital that.
I want to know
that
if like
subscribe to
anyone
that
in
stuff.
charge of an SEO team for a serious like company is actually using Uber Suggest.
They do because
so?
yeah, Ryan's been telling me about all these nightmare type
God.
clients that he's got.
I guess they
It's the big corporate ones that Neil Patel is the guy, and you are the guy. If you happen to watch this video, we're huge fans, and we're looking for VC too.
we're huge
so.
fans of your success.
Yeah, yeah, he's out there. He's everywhere. My dad knows who Neil Patel is, and he thinks
serious?
I'm a loser.
I guess
yeah.
he Googled SEO and he saw him.
Yeah, he's winning.
Anyway, yeah, that's about it for oops. Yeah, that's about it for Uber Suggest. All right, let's see what we got next.
Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get the question in the thing so everyone can see it. YouTube. So this is Josh. I have to figure out how to get the question all in there.
Yes, 2 parts, but need both of them.
I guess we'll just start here. So Josh says, I've got a page in the pharmaceutical space that is bouncing around between 2 and 4. The volume is very low, 180, but the CPC is at 30. The number 1 position is always a site dedicated to keyword niche. And then he follows it up and says,
I'm guessing it means like an exact match URL
yeah,
is the number one position.
yeah, Josh, clarify that if you can. But we think that you said the number one position is always a site dedicated to keyword niche. We guess you mean a URL that's gunning for that specific keyword.
Like we were just looking at Denver SEO, so denverseo.com.
So he follows it up and he says, should I, one, hit it with an NLP rewrite? It is not NLP optimized. Hit it with links, I'm kind of afraid of because it's a science medical site, or hit it with click-through rate manipulation, hit it with eat. I mean, so if you're on page 1, I mean,
there's one thing that stands out to me out of all 4 of these, right? I would make the priority the obvious one, which is eat. Because you're in, you said you're in pharmaceuticals, so you require a huge amount of trust. And so that's also going to tie into number 2.
Yeah,
right.
So the authority part of eat is authoritative backlinks, right? In general.
Yeah, so I would beef up like things like author profiles, meaning like their social media profiles, etc. Anything to make authority kind of build up with the entire network of what you're doing. And then so it
says no, it's a branded URL, a company, but the company is essentially dedicated to the keyword niche.
Oh, as in keywords is the niche.
No, because he said it's it's like why is my brain not working? Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Well, regardless, so like I would say it still stands. So focus on eat, which would include backlinks as well. But we're talking about high-end backlinks that are related to the medical field, pharmaceuticals, etc., right? Things that already have quite a bit of trust.
High-end meaning like over DR 50.
Yeah, that have healthy rankings in the SERPs, etc. And then beefing up, your own network, depending on how your site's laid out now. So if Chris, you want to go over eat a little bit, just in case there's anybody watching that doesn't.
I mean, honestly, as far as like eat goes, if you're on page 1, I don't think you're having a problem with expertise or trustworthiness. I think it's essentially going to come down to authority, right? If Google thought that you were lacking on the E or the T, expertise or trustworthiness, expertise meaning, or how I kind of interpret it, as that you're covering the topic fully and providing trustworthy information. So it'd be like kind of like your content. And then T being basically some like trust factors on your site, like privacy policy, author byline, all that kind of stuff. So like if you were missing the E or the T in like a major way, I don't think you'd really be on page 1. I think what the remaining, they've already determined that your site is like trustworthy, right? And that you're giving information that they deem as credible. So I think it just comes down to authority or links basically. But, this is also without looking at it. I would, just look at your site and just look at their RD counts, look at how many links the sites above you have, and also look at like the distribution of links that they have, like how many of their links are over like DR 50 or 60 or whatever in comparison to your own site. You could play around with content like you were saying and like an NLP rewrite or whatever. It's not something I generally do. If you've already optimized your content, I feel like NLP, I don't really put much weight on that, to be honest with you.
Now, I mean, maybe instead of considering that, you could toss it in a Surfer and try and optimize it a little bit. There might be some wiggle room there that you could work with.
I'm guessing it's already got it optimized in general, but maybe just not NLP optimized.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe, just our method of SEO.
We'd be hitting it with backlinks, like for sure. It's like, I don't want to be, that pushy on it. I know some people aren't comfortable with it, but so long as you're getting good backlinks, That's our bread and butter, and we've been using it to make money in a lot of different
And
spaces over time. So
it's kind of fun. I mean, we're a link provider, right? So
yeah,
of course, the link provider is telling you need to buy a bunch of really
yeah,
strong, expensive
but it's what we
backlinks.
would do.
But yeah, that's we sell links because we built teams for it because that's how we get stuff to rank, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, in actuality, I mean, if you consider building a link business like we've got here, or you consider making money off a link network, the latter is a whole lot better than the opposite.
and he's got some follow-ups. He says, so links to the entire site or just to the page? Both, right? Entire site and the page. You want to build the authority of the page itself and the entire site.
Right, but it also depends a lot on what you currently have going on as far as a link profile goes. So if you're a smaller site, then maybe just focus on the home page and some hub pages up front. Naked, branded, generic anchors that aren't, you're not trying to fool anything. Keep the money keywords to a limit. And then inner pages, if I'm attacking heavy to the home page, I'll probably do 80-90% to the home page, and then, the rest trickled in, just one or two links per inner page.
Yeah, we go pretty light on inner pages compared to
We like to build the authority, the network.
we have a lot of sites people bring to us where they're basically some of the trouble that they're in is that they've just gone really heavy on these inner pages with links, right? Without building the authority, building up their homepage a lot and working it that way. So it kind of gets into this unnatural balance where their their inner pages are a little bit too heavy.
What is his next question? Or this one?
He said I did Surfer and it dropped it to number 5. We actually we use Surfer quite a bit.
But we don't get everything to a T. For the most part, we just want those money keywords in the green.
So as far as Surfer goes, the way I normally go about it is if it tells me to cut something out, I usually don't do it unless it's by like a big margin, a big number, or if the page basically if I figure out that I'm basically like targeting a bunch of keywords on the page that I shouldn't be targeting on it, and I'm kind of like pulling away from its main goal, the main keyword I'm trying to rank on it. I don't think we've ever had an article drop when we...
I'm trying to think of the last article I went into audit. Like, I can't think of that because we just start off with Surfer.
I mean, honestly, Josh, like, it dropping from position 4 to position 5, I wouldn't
worry about it.
I don't think I could even really say that Surfer did that.
Right.
It's just one position. Those kind of fluctuations happen daily for no reason, really.
Mm-hmm.
Sites that are stagnant, not doing any kind of work to them.
This one here.
We said it dropped from number 2.
Yeah, that's kind of hefty, but
yeah, 2 to 5. Sorry, that's a little bit of a bigger drop. But yeah, I mean, it could be that they're just adding more links than you are.
Or it could be, that Surfer is, Surfer is basing stuff on their own metrics, what they think looks right. So maybe Google has a slightly different read.
Here, I'm gonna answer your other question kind of separately from this one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll just, whatever. So should we come up with concept and do a press release and then buy some backlinks so that it looks natural? So that's something you can do. That's something that Nick talks about. We were just talking about it with the 301 question that someone had asked. Basically, when you're adding these 301s, it would make sense for the company to do a press release, right? Because 301s happen in real life when a company or a site's been acquired by another company, right? So yeah, you can use press releases to kind of
build a
camouflage your link building, right? But also at the same time, if you're adding high authority links, that's not really something I would worry about cloaking or like trying to cover up, right? You're adding like the most high authority, the most trusted links out there. We're not talking about PBNs or something. You can do PBNs, and if you were doing PBNs, I would go more on the route of trying to kind of cover them up with something like press releases or any other kind of pillow links, right? But yeah, so I mean, you could do the press release and then add other links if you want. Could be good,
Thing with I guess just as a warning to anybody watching, using a press release is a very effective tool. Not so much to gain rank, but to create a sort of just mimicking press that happens in real life. If you want to up the amount of backlinks that you're going to send to a asset, then starting off with a press release, if you're going to do heavy backlinking to that asset during that month, is a good way to do it because it emulates natural press occurring. The news is talking about something that went on, and then all of a sudden all these other websites are going. Where you'll run into issues is if you're overusing press releases. So I would say every 6 months to a year to announce like big news is fine. But alone, that press release isn't going to do as much for your particular website, in my opinion, as spending that money on authority links. Personally, and this is without looking at your site, if you want to send it to us, I'd be happy to take a look for you if you want to PM it to us. But
not on YouTube.
Yeah, not on YouTube. Don't put it on there. But it's going to depend on your link profile. However, if you've never done one, then it's probably fine for you to do. But you also don't have to do that in order to boost your asset using high-end authority links either.
Yeah, so press releases can be really good for kind of just making everything look nice and natural and stuff.
Always just to the homepage and a natural anchor. Never any money anchors, and don't do press releases to inner pages.
So let's keep going with Josh. I'm gonna kind of do this one a little bit separate. So Josh was talking about basically looking at the other sites that are ahead of him and wanting to know basically if links were the issue or trying to figure out why they were beating him or whatever. And so he asked, when I look at other sites' link profiles, it's both links to the entire site and to the inner page URL, like so basically RD of the entire domain and RD of the inner page. And then he follows it up and he says, because I've looked at backlinks that way, and right now we are beating sites with 1K in niche backlinks. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this over here. Let's get it. So I went ahead and I went back to the Denver SEO kind of example we were looking at before, and I just pulled up the top site. So it's this nuclearnetworking.com. So I pulled it up, and yeah, I mean, when I'm judging how powerful the domain is, I'm looking at the referring domains at the domain level. But then I also kind of I look at the inner page as well, or whatever page is ranking. So this one is actually ranking the home page. Here, so this one's actually has an inner page. So we could pull this one up in, let's just do the home page first. So you can see the domain has a total of 1.12K referring domains, and then the inner page has about 74. So those are, those are both kind of things that you're going to want to look to just get a quick judge of how exactly they're achieving their rankings. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, I need 74 inner page links to beat this inner page. It doesn't really work like that. You have to take into conjunction, the power of their overall domain, which would be the referring domain count of the entire domain, which we looked at before, 1.12K. And yeah, I guess in general, I'm more so looking at domain level rather than the inner page.
For For this too, though, it'd be worthwhile to look at DR and UR. UR is going to represent the power of the inner pages to that domain. So if you go to that inner page, you'll actually see that the UR for that inner page is fairly high in comparison to the overall asset.
32.
Yeah. And then that the DR is high overall, So those are metrics that you can look at in comparison to your asset and kind of gauge where you stand next to them. When you're looking at referring domains, 74 to this inner page is pretty interesting. It's going to be really targeted because Denver SEO probably doesn't have a lot of long tails that branch off of it. And so organic keywords seems relatively low in comparison to having 74 links to that inner page. Sometimes what you're going to notice is as you're doing competition analysis in a SERP, that there's going to be a slight variance between like one or two domains that aren't quite up to par with the other domains that rank on page 1 for that particular SERP. And you would look at those as entry points. So where do they stand? I feel as though I can beat them out given their overall DR, which is a reflection of the referring domains and the quality of those referring domains pointed back at that particular asset. And then you'll look at the inner page and you'll kind of gauge it based off of that.
But yeah, it's all, it's all funny money. Like these, at the end of the day, DR and UR don't mean anything, and they can be spoofed by,
Yeah,
bunch
DR
of crap.
and UR not so much in comparison to like DA, right? DAPA. But what we can
just
do
started
to
working on one that, it was one of the sites we looked at last week. The guy had like 100 referring domains. Actually, I guess in that case it was working because his domains were really crappy and his DR was super low.
Yeah, low, right?
So yeah, I guess it worked.
But either way, you're right. You don't want to focus just on metrics. I'm just saying, that'd be worthwhile to look at if you're just like running through competitors real quick. But you can also click on backlinks and then actually run through. So not all backlinks are created equal, right? And so you can also get an idea of how hard they'll be to beat via what they've got going on. And I'm willing to bet a good amount of these are PBNs. So let's see. Let's open
They've got
up.
a lot of PBNs.
Or they've got, So they've got Denver SEO, so they're using footer links. So it could actually be clients. You'll see that a lot too. But the fact that SEO design, no. Yeah, maybe not PBNs, actual client sites more likely.
This one kind of looks like a
So,
PBN.
they can use that to their benefit. That's going to give them, quite a lot of homepage juice coming from these to that specific inner page. So
What you can
they're going to
also
be fairly
do-
hard to beat out.
What you can also do is come up here and you can export their entire backlink list to an Excel file, and then sort the Excel file by DR and get a gauge of like how many links they have over above like DR like 50 or whatever, right? And then, but it's not just that easy. You still want to actually look at them because they could be a bunch of like links over DR 50 that are like social profiles or like
Right, if you see a bunch of Web 2.0s or directories and stuff, and
basically
there's
just-
like 200 of them, but
Yeah.
no authority links, because right now we're looking at authority links. You can tell by how much traffic and keywords they rank for as well. All of these are healthy sites, right? So even if they were PBNs, they'd be PBNs that are seen as valuable in the eyes of Google.
It's like here we sorted it by DR, and now we're just seeing like a bunch of like press releases. And like we said, press releases are good. We like press releases, but at the same time, these are all like no follow, and they're not generally something that you would consider like a mega like authority link, right?
Yeah, they're for
And see, then you see a bunch of these are what we would consider pillow links. We've got like directory type stuff up here. So yeah, you still have to kind of sort through and determine like out of their let's say 100 links they have that are above DR50, how many of those are actual like authority, what you'd consider an authority link and not a pillow link. But yeah, like most of the ones that we're seeing right here, over 50 so far, are have been kind of like not stuff that we would consider a good link. They're all just like natural pillow links.
Yeah, if you saw something like that and no authority, then you would consider it an easy target to beat out.
So like this looks like a normal one, this looks like a guest post, whatever, topseos.com. But it's one of the first ones we've kind of seen in here that is not like a directory type link. Anyway, those are just what you can look at. As far as going back to your question goes, I more so pay attention to domain or referring domains at the domain level, but I do look at how powerful the inner page is too. But you kind of have to take those two things in conjunction rather than viewing them separately. And then you have to compare it, your site to it and just kind of realize that especially if you know how to build links and you're doing it smartly, you can often beat them with a good amount less links as well. So, but it'll just give you kind of a gauge of what kind of competition you're looking at.
The more you dive in, the more you just look at all that data, the more you're going to kind of get a picture of what recipe is going to help you out whenever you're doing competition research. But yeah, I would agree with Chris overall. Probably look at the overall value of the actual URL or the top level domain.
All right. We've got one from Andre. So Andre says, how do you define the value of a backlink if you could buy a guest post, niche edit, etc.? I've actually got an article on this. Forgot what it is. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and I'll drop this link in the description for you. Or you could just go to our site and the article is called What is a Quality Backlink? Here we go. Yeah, so as far as what we're looking at to judge the quality of the backlink, the three main things we're looking at are relevance, authority, and power. Just a quick way that we define that. Relevance, I think you probably know what relevance is, but basically is the website or the article itself related to whatever it's linking to. And relevance doesn't always have to be exact, like laser focused. Like if your article is about pit bull toys, the article that you're linking from doesn't have to be about pit bull toys or pit bulls or even dogs. It could be about pets,
Right.
So as long as something that makes sense. But if you can really laser focus in that relevance, if you can get something that's hyper relevant, we'd consider that better, right? And then you have authority, which we kind of can, we were just talking about before, the kind of the power and the trust, which is a little bit more of an obscure concept of the domain overall. And then we consider the power, which is the essentially the backlink profile of just that URL that the link is coming from. And yeah, in the article we kind of talk about, you don't necessarily need high amounts of all three of these things. You can kind of think about them like on a sliding scale, right? So if the link has low relevance, if it's like pretty like general relevance, you'd want it to have more authority or more power. If it's low on authority, you'd want like more relevance and more power and so on like that. So traffic and rankings are another one that people talk about a lot. And we kind of group this into it's good, but it's not everything. But again, if you can have if the link and the domain, if the URL and the domain itself have traffic and rankings, of course, that's better. But yeah, I mean, as far as like actually putting like a value on a backlink, it's pretty hard to do. But I think one of the ways that you can kind of do it is to look at what they're being sold, by providers, right? So like in general, providers usually sell links by authority. It's probably the most commonly used.
Yeah.
Some people sell them by like traffic or whatever, and relevance is kind of like a given, right? They kind of if someone is like selling you links and they're not relevant,
Traffic, I would say, is like an authority factor, right? Like a trust and authority
Yeah,
factor.
I would kind of lump traffic in as kind of a more like abstract concept of like
Mm-hmm.
authority and trust rather than just like the referring domain count of the entire domain.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I would just look at this article if you want to get some ideas of like what makes a link a good link. Um,
And then let's
anything.
remember too that, the main point, and I think we talk about in this article, is that you want to diversify your link profile. So let's say you get some links that aren't of the greatest quality, so long as you're offsetting that with additional high quality links. Diversity is the key to making all that kind of stay under the radar and give you longevity with your asset.
Oh yeah, some other things you definitely want to look at, is it a contextual link? Which means it's like actually in like a paragraph of information rather than some like on a sidebar or like a footer or something. Of course, you want it to be indexed. There was something else I wanted to look at here. And of course, you do follow is going to be more valuable than no follow. Not that no follow links aren't good and helpful. We definitely think they are, but do follow would be more valuable. It would be worth more to you, right? And if you wanted to really look into things a little bit deeper, you can actually pull up like the linking domain in a tool like Ahrefs and actually look at the backlink profile of the domain. And actually like look at like the health of the domain, right? Does it need to be, the most highly ranking domain with a traffic and keyword graph that's going straight up? No. But if its backlink profile is like complete trash and has a ton of spam and real seedy stuff in there, I would definitely take the value down.
Mm-hmm. And I guess also if you look at some of the links, let's say you're buying them from a provider, and you go to a hypothetical guest post that you bought, and on that guest post is also 10 other links, including links to Viagra pages and stuff like that. That would also be a low quality factor.
Yeah, outbound links.
Yeah, outbound links. So some on page there as well.
For sure. So hopefully that answered that for you, Andre. What do we got next?
Travis.
How do you even do a press release?
Yeah, so there's a few ways to do them. You can buy press packets, which would give you access to actually write your own article or have one written, and then you would send one of those. So usually you buy them in like packs of 10. They're fairly expensive. And then you would put your press release onto a wire and it would get picked up that day. A much simpler way to do that is to find someone that will do the press release for you. That way you can just buy one. You don't have to buy a package of them. And you can get that done. There's even, like really good people that do this on Fiverr, because the syndication isn't something that you can mess up all that bad. What you need to worry about is writing engaging content that's going to be worthwhile for that press release, unless you're just doing it as like a super pillow link. But either way, I think with press release, it's better to go the extra mile and actually make it worthwhile press that somebody would, read if they came across it.
Yeah, good content. Don't link to your site in a spammy way. Go to your homepage and use branded or URL anchors.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do money anchors.
What kind of stuff would you write about in a press release? Let's say you got a new website, that would be press release worthy. You 301 to domain, call it a merger, and write about that. Or, just you don't have anything going on, make up something that would be happening in the real world for a business like, whatever your affiliate site represents. If it's a kayak thing, say, they sponsored the whatever kayak day at the local lake. Stuff like that it's fine.
Or you could even talk about like future. Mm-hmm. So you could be like, the XYZ kayak company released its future projected earnings
electric
or
mega Tesla razor,
they
whatever.
expect to 10x their profit this year by blah blah blah.
Press release you can have a lot of fun with, you know. I mean, take it as an opportunity to write some bullshit that's fun, you know. And then you can build a lot of extra backlinks alongside that campaign too, because remember, you're emulating press. When I say press, I'm not talking specifically about a press release. I'm talking about buzz that's going on. This is in the form of backlinks from all kinds of different links, as well as things like social signals, etc. We can answer that easy.
Travis, I want this to be the last time you ever ask this question to anyone.
I think we've asked it
in your entire life. I don't want to see you asking this question in any other SEO group for looking for an answer. Long story short, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Unless you really need the paid option, like some of the Yoast paid options, which most people don't need. So Rank Math, I think, offers a bunch of the stuff for free. I haven't looked at Rank Math in a while now, but the reason they got so popular is they were basically giving away for free the stuff that the other ones were you had to pay for. But 99% of people do not need those paid options. And so literally any of the SEO plugins would be all right for you. I always give a disclaimer about Rank Math too. Rank Math is the only one I ever see negative stuff about, really.
Like in groups and stuff?
Like years ago, Yoast had this one that had the problem
the
where
image problem.
Yeah, basically they updated the plugin, they did something wrong, and a bunch of people lost rankings. And then they corrected it, and the rankings went back. Other than that, Yoast has kind of been like the tried and true. I personally use Yoast on basically everything. But yeah, I Rank Math is the only one that I ever see negative stuff now, and it's also like the most hyped one. I feel like people buy into the marketing too much on it, and
people always want the most technical, advanced thing to use, which I guess, if you're getting extra bells and whistles, that's cool. But I've used Yoast since I got started in SEO. It's what I'm comfortable with, and so that's why I stick to it. But I do have Rank Math running on a couple websites. I've never had to go in and change anything really on either of them. Yoast, we had that image indexation issue that happened that one time, and really outside of that, I can't think of too much that's ever given me problems with either of them, honestly. But,
if I was gonna give you advice, I would just say go with Yoast, because Rank Math, I've seen too much chatter of like stuff that's kind of like unknown. Like basically, are they selling data? Are they, or people have complained about it like basically tanking their rankings or two. But I don't read too much into the stuff, because at the end of the day, the choice of plugin doesn't matter unless it's messing up, right? They do very simple things, or what you should be using them for are very simple things, which is just changing your titles and your metas and stuff like that. Yeah, I wouldn't really be using them for much more other than like, setting some kind of pretty basic on-page stuff and, generating your sitemap and stuff like that. I've actually got an article on this as well. Let's see.
Don't we have a Yoast versus Rank Math?
We do not.
Maybe it's a YouTube video from.
This was actually one of the first articles I wrote for the site, like a really, really long time ago. But yeah, I would just kind of go into our reasoning here a little bit more, and basically what they offer, what they don't offer, stuff like that, and then I take a very long time to explain that your choice of plugin does not matter. You're not going to rank better because you pick one of these than the other one, right? Just pick one, get it over with, and then stick to the fundamentals, solid on-page, solid content, solid link building. This is just like what color shoelaces you're wearing, pretty much.
Yeah. No, we've done this question a couple times.
All right. Let's see who's next. Never again, Travis. Never again. Just pick one. Pick which one you think has the coolest logo.
Yeah. That'll work.
Where was it? We had another one here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like this one, this is like something we should have like on our PBN product page, right? What are a couple reasons why someone would want to outsource a few PBN links, Nick?
Well, if you've ever built a PBN or like a network of them, even, a 10 site network, it can just be a pain in the ass. And then when you lose the asset, you lose that asset. When a PBN is de-indexed, it's gone. And so you essentially call it a loss. You can always throw it back on GoDaddy or something like that and sell it at auction, but you're gonna sell it at a loss ultimately. I've been building PBNs for years, big networks of them, and I can tell you they're always a pain in the ass. And early on, I would say just buying the links as a one-off, or even using rentals in kind of like staggered periods where you remove some and then add new ones on, is a lot easier. And then you're taking the risk element out of it, because if the PBN gets de-indexed, at least you don't lose the value of that asset. Overall, I think it's just mainly because building a PBN, like a very secure one, it's technical, and you have to really like spend some time crossing your T's and dotting your I's.
Yeah.
So
I feel like this reason is like on par with, managing all like the different parts of the PBN when you start growing your network is, ultra time consuming and takes a lot of know-how, but also just a lot of people, I would say even most SEOs don't even really know how to build links correctly.
yeah.
So then you step into the realm of PBN links, which are, the most hunted type of link
And
by Google.
the most
right?
volatile link you're going to use.
And there's like a lot of like these small things that you have to do with PBN links, or you can very easily get yourself in some trouble, or they can just be taken down and you just wasted, you lost all the money that you spent on the domain and building the site on it and all that stuff.
So, conceptualize it. It's like, I've got a money site. I want to build 10 a 10 PBN network for it. All right, well, all of that has to go to different hosting. Some people might be comfortable using cheaper hosting, but the amount of times your site's going to be broken or you're going to deal with issues is through the roof. Trust me, I used to do that. And so we're talking about moving to premium hosting. At that point in time, you're basically creating a real website on a different IP. So you're talking about 10 different IPs. That's monthly incurred cost as well. And then still, your risk goes up there because your network isn't really diversified. So for example, if you rent a PBN link, or if you buy one from a big network that's doing things properly and monitoring things properly and diversified properly, they might lose one or two assets every once in a while, versus if you lose your PBN, it's most likely because the majority of that PBN network got sniped based on the money site that you're working on. So, you picture it like a market crash happening. All of a sudden, you wake up one day and boom, 90% of your PBN is just washed out. And
like Nick's GME stock.
Yeah, you didn't do any better, I mean, we made some bad plays, we got some good plays coming up, but yeah. So you have to conceptualize that too. Like, the risk is a lot higher, especially as you're building that network out. Maybe you won't think about that until you get up 10, 15, 20, or even 100 PBN going. But the day that you lose, 30% of your network, which has happened to me before, it's just a heavy loss.
Yeah, so
You can give that to somebody else like me and Chris, and we've managed PBNs enough to like kind of diversify our risks, and that's why we offer those links up.
yeah, so just to summarize, it's a pain in the ass that can, if you've got more than like a few PBNs, the pain in the ass really grows, and it costs, right?
Yeah.
And most people just don't know how to do it properly, right? So, if you don't really know the ins and the outs of PBN use, buy them, right? Buy them instead of doing it yourself. You'll save yourself potential, like, losing entire domains or penalties or whatever.
On the same token, though, PBNs are one of those links that I would say you have to find a reputable vendor for, because if you're buying 10 links at a time and then those 10 links are, getting de-indexed within 1 or 2 months' time, higher probability that it's going to affect your site inversely.
I will say one more thing, though. If you do want to get into PBNs, actually learning the ins and outs of PBNs, taking the time and really diving deep into this stuff, actually learning from like reputable sources on it, not only can be a good investment for you, but I feel like learning about PBNs teaches you how to build links, right? Because, the way that you have to do a lot of the stuff with PBNs to build links safely, you basically apply to all other forms of link building, just in like a kind of toned down type of way, right?
Yeah.
They're the most powerful, but also kind of the most dangerous form of backlink if you don't know what you're doing. And so if you really like take the time and invest the time into learning how to use them and build them and all that stuff, it can be a good investment for growing your own network, as well as just teaching yourself more about link building safely.
Yeah, if I was going to get started on a PBN, I would start with, an experimental PBN that I'm not using to really rank a money site. Granted, saying that, I got my start in building PBNs because I thought that was going to be my easy money ticket utilizing Power. And that was more of like a 2.5-year process of really diving in, losing a lot of money, and figuring out the ins and outs of what would work for me particularly. So it wasn't a quick win.
Nick used to be the guy sending you a message on Facebook.
Yeah, I got my start
saying
$5 links at a time.
Saying, hey man.
Yeah, you want to buy some links?
You want some backlinks?
I had a dirty little picture, and I went out there and I hustled. But that's the point. A lot of people too don't realize it. It's $5 at a time, right? That builds something up, that gets momentum. I'm very big on that. And that $5 at a time means that you're actually working, digging and getting your hands dirty into something, and it is going to give you an education that you won't be able to get anywhere else. So, if you have interest in building a PBN, I would say there's quite a few resources out there. Daryl Rosser's is really good.
When are you gonna do the Nick Altimore guide?
Well, I've got how to build a PBN checklist that we can link there too.
It's not like super in depth though, is it? I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a downloadable check sheet. That you guys can see what kind of plugins that I'll diversify in. Kind of forgot about this one.
Yeah, so we've got this article you can check out.
And you can, up here, you can download the... old video. Click here. You can download a what is it, a spreadsheet or a PDF?
I don't know.
Well, it's a checklist.
I think it's just a text file
for all the
file.
plugins and stuff that you'd want to use.
Yeah,
how to
the
diversify
checklist
something.
will kind of guide you through it. But I think we should probably write a more in-depth one as well. We actually got another. Yeah, Josh, keep the questions coming. We'll stay a little bit longer. Got another one about PBN, so I don't want to give all the beans quite yet. Yep. All right. What is your approach to building PBNs in 2021? If you get an auction domain, do you try to rebuild it within the old site's niche, or do you build it to suit the relevance of the targeted site? You can do both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just depends on what you're doing. So for me, if I'm buying domains that are going to be a private, like my own personal PBN network that I'm going to use on a specific asset, meaning that the entire purpose of this PBN is to go after my own money site, then I'm going to make it very relevant, right? I'm going to try and make these links. So I'll buy the age domain specific to that niche if I can. Even if they're news-based, then I'm going to spin them or the titles, etc., to be relevant to my niche, and I'm going to make it hyper-relevant. If I'm buying PBNs for our rentals network, I'm going to generalize them a little bit more and then have them have multiple categories so I can, easily file things that fall under like a sort of umbrella category. So in that case, it'd be more like broad things like tech, outdoors, travel, etc.
And just to kind of take the focus off of us and put it onto you, how you could translate that is, a private PBN network for a single site versus you creating a PBN, say for your SEO agency, right? And that you're using on multiple sites from the same PBN, right? So you'd want them to be, if you're trying to get more use out of a single PBN domain than only boosting one site, you're going to want to go a little bit more general on the relevance. I'm not saying like general, like, literally everything, but basically up a parent niche or two.
However, it's not a must that your PBN is relevant to past use. There's plenty of news websites out there that link out to all sorts of different things. A very powerful site, is still going to pass juice. But, if it's targeted to a specific site again, yeah, you can make it more relevant to that asset and just boost the efficiency by which that PBN will work.
Yeah, so whether you do whether you rebuild it into the old site's niche or the niche of the targeted sites, really kind of be it's going to kind of be up to you and your future use of that PBN, what all it's going to be targeting, and the actual like where it stands. Like, so maybe you've got a dog food site and you bought a PBN domain that's just like general news. Well, you could just leave it general news to link out to multiple sites, or you could, target it down to dog news or just something all about dogs and use it only on your dog website or other clients that have dog websites.
When you're just getting started, if you're building your own PBN, I would warn against using it on multiple money sites, because that's when you're going to create a footprint across your PBN and money sites, which is its own kind of advanced theory on how to use PBNs, how much overlap you can have, and things like that, which is literally based on experimenting. So yeah, I would tread lightly when doing stuff.
So yeah,
like
I guess if you're asking this question, I would probably stay away from using PBNs on multiple sites, and so you could probably pretty safely, to answer your question, you could probably just retheme the site a little bit more towards the niche of the target site that you're going to be using it on, right?
And then let's say you find like a really nice buy, and it's not in your niche at all. Let's say you've got a website about dog toys. You find something that's about, water bottles, right? You can retheme that site by making the title and the relevance of the PBN's content dedicated to water toys for dogs, something along those lines. And so then you're boosting the relevance in conjunction with that backlink profile of a website that didn't historically have anything to do with your niche, but it will still play into passing juice and relevance to your asset. So repurposing domains is something you can do.
All right, guys, we're gonna answer a couple more questions that we've got here before we take off, because we're going over time again. I don't want to be here for too long because we got other stuff we got to do as well. Brian asks, but is there a reason to prioritize PBN links over authority links in a hypothetical scenario? PBN links are authority links. I guess what you mean though is like prioritize PBN links over high authority like guest posts or niche edits.
I don't think you would ever prioritize a PBN link or any type of link over anything if the key is to diversify and make things look natural.
Yeah, unless you're in like a really high competition spammy niche where people get away with a lot more PBN links. But for the most part, I'm guessing the large majority of you guys are not in a niche like that. If you want to know if you're in a niche like that, you literally just go look at the top rankers and see if you see pages of PBNs listed on their backlink.
Payday loans, sex.
Yeah. They're usually what you consider like bad neighborhood niches where you can get away with a lot more PBN use. But in general, you want your PBNs to be probably like your least used type of link, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to go crazy with them. You want to be pretty conservative with them and be sure that you're following the principles of link diversity.
PBNs are like it's the tool you use at the final round to like just, push as much power into your asset or like
it's like
towards a specific asset.
It's like in Mortal Kombat when you like
finish him.
You kick the dude's ass and he's standing there and is like, position 3.
Yeah.
And then you just come in with the PBN and you just blow his fucking head off, right? Like that's what a PBN link is. But you're up until that point you're like fighting the whole battle using a lot of more natural stuff.
A lot of people they think that PBN is like a power move, but it's actually a move of finesse because if you've done all your backlinking properly on the back end,
you very
coming in with one
blow their head off.
Yeah. It's just like when you do a PBN properly, when you hit that particular page or asset with one PBN link that is a good PBN, you're going to see a heavy increase in that SERP position. Now, mind you, it might take even up to a month or two sometimes for it to really resonate, but overall, you're going to see a big increase using a homepage authority link to pass juice. But use it as a finessing situation. A lot of people think, I'll get my pillow linking done and then I'll go buy 20 PBNs. It doesn't work that way. It can, but that's not based in longevity. And it's definitely not the best way to build anything out, nor is it the most effective.
Exactly, Brian. It's a secret weapon. It's not like when Google looks at your website, you don't want them to see, oh, he's the PBN site, right? You want them to say, oh, he's a website that has a very well-rounded backlink profile with a couple homepage links in there.
SEO Hero Ninja, I like that.
Okay, yeah, so hopefully that answers your question, Brian. PBN links are authority links. They're high authority, passing a lot of link juice from the homepage, but definitely want to be pretty conservative with them compared to the totality of your backlink profile. And that's like, I feel like, just to kind of expand on this a little bit more, I think part of the reason why PBNs have such a bad rep with a lot of people is because they do what you said.
They're just trying to brute it's a Hail Mary.
They haven't taken the time to actually experiment and learn SEO. They might have watched a course on, and
It's
they
why
said,
I
well,
started
hey,
building a PBN
yeah,
within like 2 months of getting it.
I can just rank quick with PBNs. I know the secret now. I can just, and then they go in there and they blow up their client site or they blow up their own site, and
Or
then
your
they
bankroll.
and then they go buy a white hat course, and for the rest of their lives, they're talking about how PBNs don't work and they're dead.
Yeah.
But like, I think PBNs will always be the single most powerful linking tool.
Yeah, sure.
You just
A homepage contextual link is going to be, the biggest, the strongest backlink you can get,
you
or
just
strongest position.
you have to have the finesse. You can't just go in there guns blazing with a shit ton of PBNs and cross your fingers. Don't know if we'll be able to help you with this one,
Yeah,
Josh.
I don't know the answer to this one, I don't think.
Josh says, I just updated a page title and requested indexing. Google visited the page and
Oh.
took it out of the index. I've got the URL is available to Google at the top of the page inspector in Google Search Console.
If it's only been like a day, sometimes weird stuff like that happens. Usually I'll let things just index naturally versus sending Google the crawl. But if it took it out of index, that's pretty strange. I would give it a couple days though. Most likely it's going to correct itself. I don't know why you got taken out of index, but
yeah,
it could just be having a problem deciding where it wants to put it, or maybe it kind of altered things as far as relevance goes, and now it's categorized differently or being categorized differently.
yeah. Honestly, this is another thing. I mean, I think we're on the same page about this, but maybe we're not. As far as like requesting indexing goes, it's not something I mess with. I change my page title and then I carry on with my day.
Yeah.
We're not laughing with you, Josh. We're laughing with you.
Yeah, we're not at you, with you.
No, it's a common thing, right? People, I remember I did the same thing. I don't know. I'm not saying you're new at SEO or you're not good at SEO or whatever, but I remember in the beginning, I just used to be a lot more concerned of, well, why isn't my page indexed? And I'm in Google Search Console. I'm clicking like, well, why isn't it's still not there? Or why is it not on Ahrefs now? How long is it going to take to pop into Ahrefs? And
Yeah, I remember those days.
as I moved on, like I do not look to see if like a new article or something is indexed unless it's like having some kind of like problem, right? Unless it's like been there for like a long time and it's not indexing.
See, our process is probably more like we put up a post, and then in the automation chain, SOP would be, all right, then toss that keyword or keywords we're monitoring for that post into SE ranking. And then we'll see when we start to fluctuate in the SERPs. We'll see when we start to gain traction. We'll see when we drop from traction. And so that's more so where we focus versus GSC, where you're monitoring things really closely. Now, don't get me wrong, it's definitely worthwhile to monitor that data. But as far as indexation of stuff, when Google does stuff like that, a big one used to be like when you'd transfer from SSL or non-SSL to SSL, you'd have like, a month and a half of drops and all sorts of headaches, and it was this whole thing. That doesn't occur anymore. But, Google has
Or
things
like
that happen like that.
to non-www.
Yeah. So personally, I would just give it a couple days, check periodically, but
Yeah,
don't lose sleep over it right now.
yeah, what Nick said, I would, if it's something you're gonna worry about, I would like put it on your calendar for like a week or two from now. Is it still not indexed?
Yeah, look into it some more.
Rather than really something that you need to worry about. I just let it happen.
Or
And
force index it with like a backlink or two. I mean, you could do that too.
Yeah,
if you're really worried about it.
buy our links to force index it.
Or it's just like get it a link. Build some Web 2.0s out.
When's the last time you used the request indexing tool?
I don't use it at all. It would have been at least I don't know. I mean, before it's come back. So it just came back not long ago, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And
I
so,
don't
yeah, I
know.
haven't used it since it's been back because I guess I got used to not even worrying about it. And like you said, when, I was a younger SEO, I'd have time to worry about stuff like that. But now it's just like more so I'm worried about
Rankings.
or pushing content or any part in the automation
Yeah,
chain, right?
but like you
It's
said, we
like
don't.
everything's got to be moving. I'm not really concerned with,
But yeah, like you said, like we don't even check for indexation. We
no.
check if we're ranking.
Hmm.
So like we build a new page, we add those keywords into our keyword tracker. If it's been like, well, depends what the site is, but if it's, a site that's been around for a while and then it's been like a few weeks and it's not ranking for any of the keywords that we want it to rank for yet, then we'd go check it out.
Yeah.
But I don't ever use the request indexing tool. Um,
I try and limit, like, giving Google, and call it like, tinfoil hat type
if you
theory,
use
but
Google Search Console,
yeah,
you're a
they're
narc.
gonna know.
You're a narc,
They're gonna
man.
know what you're
You're
doing.
narking. You're narking on yourself.
No, don't worry about any of that stuff. Just monitor it over the course of time. One of your biggest tools when it comes to being a good SEO is going to be your patience, because if you're monitoring a bunch of these small things that are basically out of your control, your hair is going to go gray based on that.
All right, I think we've got.
That's about it, right?
We'll go ahead and do Travis one more.
Okay.
Travis, we're gonna take a quick look at your site. You linked it in the chat.
We'll keep it off video.
Yeah, in the future you might want to not
Although it's a local site, I mean, like, there's really not that much could happen to it.
Yeah, we won't show it unless you're okay with us showing it. But we put these videos up on YouTube and stuff too. So
I'll say that's a nice looking site. It's clean.
I knew this was yours, Travis. I actually we were looking at God, where am I? We were looking at so last week we were looking at, I think you were asking some questions about the photo booth site, and I went ahead and I don't remember what I was doing, but I looked at the actual SERP and then I found this one and I was like, I bet this is Travis's site. Yeah, let's go ahead and check it out.
He's asking what's one thing that he can do to this site over the course of the next year.
Let me
Yeah, just get the last in. I'm gonna drink that tail end of my Red Bull.
All right, so he asked, for the past year, I've been number 2, number 3 for my top keyword, Houston photo booth rental. What's one thing I can do this year to take it to the number 1 spot? Yeah, and that's it, Travis. You were asking about ranking the DJ. Yeah, and that's why, because I looked at the top ranking ones and I saw that this one had a DJ services button on the top, and it was the only one on the SERP that was offering DJ services like you would wanted it to. So I knew it. But all right, let's go ahead and take a quick look. Oops. God damn it, Facebook.
Just pull it from there. All right, well, just looking at it, I'll tell you what you
All
can
right.
do.
Travis, you got 31 referring domains.
Come on, send us some backlinks.
Let's go ahead and show Travis what we would normally do looking at this.
Sure.
All right, so oops. There we go. Okay, so I went ahead and I pulled up your keyword in Google, right? Houston photo booth rental. And so I'm gonna go ahead and open up these first two. Okay, so that other one is you. So let's go ahead and look at the top 2 rankers, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these into Ahrefs. Let's throw the other one in Ahrefs too. So yeah, I guess it's a pretty low competition niche. 30. The other one, HTX Booth, only has 34 referring domains. So the first thing I'm looking at is the referring domains.
We're looking at inner
I guess I
pages
can
here,
show
right?
these. I can
Yeah,
show these,
go
right?
ahead. Why not?
All right, yeah. So I got them pulled up in Ahrefs. So we have HTX Booth. It's got 34 referring domains, and then the number 2 spot only has 8 referring domains. Man, this is some low competition stuff.
That's to an inner page, though.
That's true.
But it's still, I mean, DR is low, so it's probably like about the same as
This one's
other
probably going
ones.
to be like a nationwide type thing,
125.
operating in multiple cities. Let's go ahead and take a look. Where are your locations?
Did you find them in the map pack or just in organic?
So here they have like Texas. I wonder how many cities they're in. I mean, I guess we could look at their
Index.
organic keywords. Anyway, it's not even really important.
No, based on your site, it looked nice. And I'm guessing since you're on page 1, your on page is already good. Everything looks all right. I'm also guessing that, and this is a guess, but that most of these backlinks are like directories or pillow links. Let's have a look.
So Travis, I've got yours pulled up on the other screen that we're looking at. You want to look at his links or the other site's links?
Yeah, this one, his links, backlinks. Okay, so I'm guessing that's like a
Got
guest
a link from
post.
Whataburger? Oh man, you're my hero.
That's pretty cool.
Do you get free burgers with that?
I want a Whataburger link.
I want-
Whataburger is a famous burger joint in Texas, for those of you that don't know.
Some say it's going downhill.
I would agree with that, actually. I like Pete Terry's much better myself.
Or in Austin, so
Yeah.
Pete Terry's is like the local Austin burger place. It's cheap and awesome.
You actually have pretty nice links in here. There's a few pillow links. Honestly, to get, let's say hypothetical, this website enters MLB this month. Where do we start? So you asked what's one thing you can do this year to get it to position 1 from number 3. I would say backlinking campaign is going to be your best bet right now, because I don't think you're going to need a whole lot given this competition data, where you stand in comparison to them, and then what you'd have to do to come over the top of them. I would probably focus on just a few high authority links per month, since this is a low RD range for the top competitors. We're talking about like 35 on average. So, 3 to 6 links maybe.
Well, the other site had like 125, but they're also hitting a bunch of different locations.
Yeah, and that's from the homepage there.
But Travis, I'm going to tell you,
homepage
something real quick. I'm looking at your anchor text that you're using right now. So you have two links that are linking with your exact match anchor, Houston photo booth rental, right? I went ahead and I did a search for Houston on that page, and you've got Houston a couple more times in there, but they're kind of these like long tail type anchors. I think if you just built like a couple more good links using a variation of that anchor text, photo booth rental in Houston, basically like switch it around a little bit. You're going to know your main keyword variations better than us, but I'm guessing if he built a couple links with like a variation of keyword on there, that could probably see some pretty good movement.
Well, yes, I mean like 3 to 6 links.
It's got a bunch
send the majority to the homepage, which is what you're trying to rank, and then
all the most
a couple of variations.
Is real natural. He's only got these like 2 money anchors in here, and all the rest of it is like real natural looking. I think if you just did some keyword variation anchors with some like nice links, man, I think you could do pretty well for yourself.
Yeah, what I would still say diversify your link profile as you're creating a backlink campaign, though.
Yeah. Wait, what? So
So, like, don't just focus for the next 3 months. Don't just focus on
video.
variations of Houston photo booth rental. You're
Oh,
still going to be mixing and matching different anchors.
well, let's see what his most recent links were.
And honestly, when we're choosing a target, so a lot of people, I think I saw that in the chat, you said you thought you got an idea from the PBN chat that we had. And so at this point in time, yeah, you could just hit it with one PBN and see what it does. I would do a variation of that exact match if you just wanted to try out one link. But in the interest of like what we always stress, which is diversification of your backlink profile or just whatever you're doing in SEO, if I was going to send 3 links to this asset this month and I wanted one to be a PBN, I'd probably do one PBN and like 2 guest posts or something like that. The guest post would be very natural, and then that hard target with the PBN would be used with a exact match variation, at exactly what you want to rank. But then you're fairly well insulated as you're, doing that. But granted, you already got over 30 backlinks in a local niche, so
Yeah, so like just as an example, you could let's say do a round of link building of like 5 new backlinks or something. And 3 of them you could do real natural branded URL generic anchors, and 2 of them hit it with some keyword variations.
I tell you what, let's make a trade. I've got some Houston PBNs. I'll give you a link or two. If you get a positive influx in the SERPs, then you write us a nice testimonial.
Oh, that's how it goes now. I guess
It
PBN links
sounds
are
all right,
free for
right?
us, huh?
Not exactly. I mean, we got to pay for content, but I've got a couple of
free.
those bad boys.
How's that sound, Travis? We'll give you some PBN links, but you're gonna want to build something else alongside of them probably. So yeah, you can use like keyword variations on the PBN links, and then mix in some other stuff. Anyway, send us a message if you want to do that. If not, he says done. All right. But yeah,
Yeah, I think that's about what we got time for today.
just as a little bit more of a general advice for anyone else that's watching this. The main takeaway here is use variations of your keywords. If Travis was my SEO client and I saw that anchor profile, I'd be really happy, right?
Yeah, it'd probably be easy to mess with.
Ton of natural stuff with 2 money anchors, and he didn't use any variations.
And he's number 3.
Yeah, so I would feel really confident that I would not have to do much work and could potentially get this thing to number 1, considering the competition has about the same number of referring domains.
If we were SEOs instead of backlink vendors, that'd be like a $3,000 ticket right there.
You better watch out, man.
Yeah.
We come in there.
I think we need to raise our prices. I'm kidding.
All right. Let's see. I think that we're done. Yeah, you're welcome, Travis.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're on YouTube. Join our Facebook group.
Comment. Share.
Sign up for our email list if you want to be up to date with what we're doing.
Invite your friends to the party.
And then, we haven't said this before, but if you're newer to this and you're having issues with backlinking or anything, check out our MLB program, Managed Link Building program. I would say that's probably our showcase where we just, based on your budget, pick exact products.
But you've also got to have some budget.
Yeah.
Minimum of $500 a month.
And your asset has to be worthwhile to work on too. We audit.
Yeah. So definitely not a good fit for everybody, but if you got the budget and you're not sure about link building, you can definitely check it out. Otherwise, we got a bunch of resources on our site as well that pretty much cover everything that we build links off of.
Yep.
Especially like the recent case study that we did with an MLB site. Check out our site, check out our blog, all that stuff. Like, share, subscribe.
Invite your friends.
Yeah. See you next time, guys. Have a good week.
Have a good week.
Cheers.
Oh, well, go ahead. That's fine. I was going to just say that, we've got SEO news and some other stuff coming out here pretty soon for anybody that's still in here. So just expect that we're going to be making more videos about a whole lot more stuff.
SEO
You're going to be
news.
seeing these mugs on the video screen a whole lot more often.
Look, Mom on TV.
Yeah.
All right, later, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Bye.